Daryl, hey! You're online before I even started the stream. Great to see you. You win. You're first. Does my audio sound okay? It is a little breezy today. I was surprised by how windy it is today. We're here in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. And I'm gonna take a really quick little detour off the beaten path here and then get back on the high street because there are a few buildings here I want to check out. But my nemesis is here. Rocky, old, historically preserved, but hideously dangerous brick sidewalks. How's your day going, Daryl? Hope it's been a good one. So here in Shepherdstown is across the Potomac River from basically Sharpsburg, Maryland. And during the Civil War, following the Battle of Antietam, the bloodiest day in American history, another engagement happened here in Shepherdstown. And it's a great day trip from Washington, D.C. or Baltimore or Northern Virginia. And if you like history and you like architecture, you can see why this is a great place to take a little stroll in the evening. Daily, hi! Hope you're having a good day. And this is Hive House. Beekeeping supplies. No way. Wow. I'm impressed with the beekeeping supplies. I admire beekeepers. Hello. Fantastic. Wow. So for all your beekeeping supplies, Hive House is here in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Hi there. How are you? Nice to meet you. Okay, it's open by appointment. And there's the number. Cool beans. Do you make the frames yourself? Do you make the frames yourself?
No, I'm a supplier for
Oh, okay.
a company. We make the bees, I build boxes, we make all the honey.
Awesome.
So.
Well, it's nice to meet you. I do little day trips, walking around, looking at the awesome architecture, and I love to find little small businesses that I can highlight. Nice to meet you. All right, so we met. That was the Hive House. See, this is why we need to get out and walk around. You find cool things and cool people. I'm gonna cross over here because it looks relatively safe right now. And get a better view across the street, and then we'll go up the main street. So yeah, I'm getting that, starting to get that almost sunset. But hey, happy spring, everybody. Happy spring. We are gonna take, it's a beautiful day. A little windier than I expected, so I apologize in advance for the audio. Please let me know if it gets too outrageous. And I'll try to adjust. Words that speak. Good luck, wish you the best. Hey, Words that speak. Great to meet you. We're in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Oh, and here's a British, the Devonshire Arms Cafe and Pub. Looks like it's closed. Looks like it's not open at the Mo. It's great to meet you, Words that speak. Yeah, this is Shepherdstown, West Virginia. I walked here from Maryland. I crossed the bridge across the Potomac River. And hey, Mark. I feel like I've been walking uphill for 3 hours. Eventually, something will be downhill. I know the whole walk back to the car will be downhill. But this is a great day trip. Now this building here, the street we're on is Princess Street, and that goes east-west. And then the cross street here is is Jermyn Street, which is kind of the high street or the main street. Not to be confused with High Street, which is not the high street. But this building here was built in 1756. And I'm going to talk really loud over this music because I did get another copyright claim for background music on one of my videos. So I do apologize if I start talking loudly when there's music. This was the Entler Hotel, again, built in 1756. Wow. It's currently the home of the Shepherdstown Historic Museum. So start your walking tour here at this corner. And let me try to, yeah, if I'm in the shade, then the buildings look nicer. This is, I don't know what this building is, but this is pretty amazing. So we're gonna walk across the street safely and take a look at this one. So look at all the work on this one. I don't see a date. And no, I didn't do any research before coming here because I just made my mind up after work today to come up here. But you can see the, well, the dramatic color scheme for sure. You can see the stained glass windows on this rounded window bay here in the front, this front corner window bay. There's a lot of traffic here. A lot of really loud, obnoxious pickup trucks. It says that Gran Ranchero Mexican food will be located here soon. But I'm gonna guess this was a bank at some point in time. I will definitely do some research. Cross over here. We're at kind of the bottom of the I'm gonna keep saying the high street, the main street. There is a high street here, but it's not the high street, if that makes sense. And across the way, I'll try to shield from the sun. But lots of different examples of 1800s architecture. And then this one. I love this one. So this one is definitely some antebellum. I won't call this Second Empire, although the roof line is typical of Second Empire. This is more traditional South or Southern influence in this building here. And I will do a whole bunch of research when I get home on all these amazing buildings. And let's get another look at this one here, because this has such characteristic bank features to it. A flagpole on top. Pretty large building too. Sad to see it not occupied. And this building here was obviously a home. The green pineapple. My daily, I'm so sorry. I know the color schemes plus the sun in your eyes. I do apologize. How's my audio? Can somebody tell me my audio is okay, or at least as normal or close to it, because the wind. I'm trying to shield from the wind a little bit. And then this one next door, another one that has some stained glass. I'm gonna keep zigzagging this street. The traffic's not too bad, so I can do that. Oh, thank you, Daly. Decent, I'll take decent. As long as it's not scratchy. I hope I turned off my headphones. Sometimes I accidentally stream through my headphones, and I don't mean to do that. It actually comes better through the regular microphone on the phone. All right, it should be better now. Now the breeze went away. So this is Green Tree and Associates Property Management, but look at this beautiful building. So I feel like in some of the other places where we've done some walking tours, there hasn't been much stained glass in the transom, in the window transoms. And this is the second one we've seen. So I'm glad to see that. Obviously a storefront here. And some really cute little storefronts here. This is post-colonial, but with the shutters. Hi there. So you might notice, if you're paying good attention, that some of the other buildings we looked at in Washington and Baltimore and Philadelphia were narrower and taller. And these are wider. This is typical of the southern states. The buildings were wider and probably not as deep and not as tall. So we don't have a date on this one, but this next one, the Mecklenburg Inn, says 1793. So again, a post-colonial, but not a federal style. Definitely has more of a southern style to it. And I'm trying this, I can't go too far back because then the sun just peeks right over the top of the building. And then we're looking in the glare. So that's a really nice example there. And I'll take a look at this one. If you can see at the top of this one, it says Welshands. So this is the Welshands building, or maybe a pharmacy. Oh, and we have a nice marker here. The George L. Mesky and Company Iron Works from Evansville, Indiana. That made the iron beams. Cool. That's pretty cool. Now across the street where we just came from, the Antler Hotel. Seen as a poet, didn't know it. And no, I don't. Definitely not. The Antler Hotel, where the historic Shepherdstown Museum is located. That was 1756. Then this little building here. And now across the way, the Masonic Temple located here. The marker at the top says 1813. So 1813. I'm guessing perhaps it was a Masonic temple from that date. And looking back down this street, this is German Street in Shepherdstown. And we're walking north, trying not to get hit by cars, but also trying to be able to appreciate some of the architecture. All right, I'll get back on the sidewalk. You'll notice in these, many of these small towns that don't have gaps in between the buildings, where you have row houses in small towns, you have to have drainage somewhere or else you end up with icy sidewalks. So the storm drains come down between the buildings and very modernly go under the sidewalk. In some towns, you'll see them actually, like, they'll be built out over the sidewalk and dump out into the street. But this one was built under the sidewalk. They're quite interesting because they're different styles. These aren't row houses. They're very individual structures. I'm gonna guess that this one is older, this small building across the way. So we'll see what we can learn about this one. And these here with the shutters. Lucky's Barber Shop, quality service. There's a lot of architecture and real estate firms here, so I'm wondering, maybe folks want to live here. All right, I'm gonna step out into the street again. Probably also a different feel at night if you come back and visit at night. There's another view across the street and then down that row. And then here on the corner, oops, let me get myself back on the sidewalk again. Here in the corner is McMurrin Hall. This is, I'm guessing, the original building of Shepherd University from 1871. It was originally Shepherd State Teachers College, and it's now part of today's Shepherd University, which we'll see as we start to walk close to the bridge over to Maryland. Now, I don't know if I'm going to stream the entire way over the bridge. It's a lot longer than I remembered previously. And it might be kind of boring to join me going over the bridge. Oh, we're going to back up and go across the street and take a look at this building too, because there's some interesting things going on at the top of that building. Lots of little cafes, little shops. This is a college town. So Shepherd University is right around the corner. This is Mountaineer Popcorn Company. Oh gosh, I smell it. Now I smell it. Popcorn. The Shepherdstown Community Club building, built in 1868. So we'll go across the street and get a better picture of this one as well. There's a little building up here I definitely want to get a close-up on. And it's this one here. It's a former theater. So this was the Shepherdstown Theater. And then it was the International Order of Oddfellows Hall. And now it's the Shepherdstown Welcome Center. So that's a really interesting building. Let's go see if we can see when it was built. Watch my head on these tree branches. This is the Pack Horse Ford chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution to commemorate their organization. So this building was built in 1800. And the Daughters of the American Revolution, I guess, led a campaign to preserve the original name of the town and the river crossing of the colonial days. So I mentioned walking across the Potomac River, across the bridge. We learn in school that the divide between the North and South during the Civil War was the Mason-Dixon line, which is the boundary, the northern boundary of Maryland and the southern boundary of Pennsylvania. But the real geographic divide between North and South was the Potomac River. Both sides of the army had to cross multiple times. And as you can imagine, each side was blowing up the bridges along the way. To add to the difficulty crossing the Potomac River was the C&O Canal, which was built or started to be built in 1828 and continued through the 1800s. So not only did you have to cross all of your men, all of your equipment, your artillery, and your horses across the Potomac River, then you had to cross this narrow but deep canal. And so I think the soldiers would argue that the real divide between North and South, the one that was most difficult, was the Potomac River, which is just a few steps that way. So back to the sign, Pack Horse Ford. There were many places across the Potomac where you could actually walk or ford the river with not too much, well, still difficulty, let me tell you. But Pack Horse Ford was one of them, and it's just south of, on the other side, it's south of Antietam, or Sharpsburg, I should say. The town is Sharpsburg, Maryland, and it can be crossed between that area and Shepherdstown, West Virginia. I like this little building here. This is a good one. All right, let's continue north on German Street. We're at the Shepherdstown Sweet Shop and Bakery. And it's for sale. Oh. And across the way, the China Kitchen looks closed. It's sad. All of these small towns, although there tend to be businesses thriving mixed in with businesses that are struggling or closing in many of these small towns. And especially in a college town, the coffee shops and the bars will continue to thrive. But some of the smaller businesses really do struggle. Shepherdstown Pedal and Paddle looks to be okay. And look at this little tiny house in between these two. So I'm going to guess there was a gap or an alleyway between these two structures. And then there was just enough room for a little teeny tiny house in between. You see the tin roofs on these homes, characteristic of this area as well. So definitely different from the city architecture that we've looked at in Baltimore, DC, Philadelphia. So West Virginia became West Virginia during the Civil War, when the ideas and the opposition to slavery by the people in the western part of Virginia, they had had enough, and they decided they were going to form their own state. And so while Virginia was firmly rooted in those southern ideologies, West Virginia broke off, very similar to Maryland, where the Confederacy, and particularly Robert E. Lee, made one of his miscalculations in thinking that the people of Maryland, after the Maryland campaign, would gladly join the Confederate cause. Well, unfortunately, for him, the Maryland campaign was in more of the western part of Maryland, west of Baltimore. He would have found sympathy for slavery in the southern counties of Maryland and in Baltimore, but out west here, closer to the mountains, was a strong Republican hold. And so Lee did not get the greeting he thought he was going to get when he went through Frederick, Maryland, and West Virginia had separated from Virginia. And so this entire area west of the Potomac but east of the Shenandoah River was Union. In terms of architecture, however, not influenced by those city styles, a little further east. And this stone structure, and the mix of stone structures. So this one built in 1789. And we'll get to the top of the street and then we'll walk our way back down. So we can see the other side, or actually see this side from the other side of the street. Ooh, and this one, Opera House. Beautiful. I like that one too. All right, back to the top and then cross over. And then we'll do it all again. At least I get to go downhill for a minute. I feel like I've been walking uphill all day. Now that's a nice example. We'll cross the street and see when that one was built, if there's any information. And this one here, the Conrad Schindler House, built in 1795. Love to see that. This house was acquired. Oh, this is the one. Okay, this house was acquired in 1995 by actress Mary Tyler Moore, a descendant of Conrad Schindler, and then donated to the Shepherd College Foundation in honor of her father. Wow. I love the Mary Tyler Moore show. Good, wholesome comedy. And I was talking on Film Club last week about Ted Knight and his original character on the Mary Tyler Moore show. Film Club tomorrow, Saturday, March 22nd. We will be watching The Sting. And now I'm going to have to talk really fast and loud because we're in front of a record store and I don't want to get a copyright claim again. So please excuse me for talking really, really fast. I'm actually going to go mute because I want to take a picture. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I had to go on mute. The music was so loud, and just yesterday I got another copyright claim on a video I took 2 months ago. One of the ones I took in Washington, D.C., and at one of the museum's outdoor exhibits was Native American music playing, and I got a claim from the tribe who created that music, believe it or not. So it didn't impact my video, and I have appealed it as fair use because it was background music and it's in public, and I was certainly trying to honor their culture. Hi, Ian. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, and I've watched several of your videos, Ian. I absolutely love them. So for anyone who watches my video, my normal crew, I want to introduce you to Ian Watts and encourage you to check out his channel. Ian is in Australia, I'm gonna guess, because I think you told me that. And he's a composer and an artist. And his playlists are amazing. They're so wonderful and calming and uplifting. And I'm so glad to have met you, Ian. I really am. My usual crew here comes to join me on my little walks, and also we have other video projects that we work on. One of them is a film club. So our film club is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, United States time, and our film is The Sting. And you are welcome to join our film club. It's on the channel called Stasis Geek. STASISGEEK, Stasis Geek. If you just look up Stasis Geek and Film Club, you'll find us. We watch a film and then we prattle on about the film, but I also take the extra step of reading the book if there's a book. And this time there is one. So I've read the book The Big Con, which was the inspiration for the film The Sting with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. So back to Shepherdstown, West Virginia. We are here in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, taking a look at some amazing, thank you, Daily. Thank you for posting that. We're here in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, which is a great day trip from Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland, Northern Virginia. And what you get here in Shepherdstown is a mix of architecture from the 1800s and a few from the late 1700s. This town is directly across the Potomac River from Sharpsburg, Maryland, which was the location of the Battle of Antietam. And immediately following the Battle of Antietam, there was a smaller engagement here, the Battle of Shepherdstown. But to be honest, both armies were so devastated after the Battle of Antietam that there wasn't really much to the Battle of Shepherdstown. I think when they realized the scope for that time, they knew it was dramatic. And of course, today we know that as the bloodiest day in American history. 22,000 soldiers missing, wounded, or killed at the Battle of Antietam. Now, the southern states would call that the Battle of Sharpsburg. In the north, battles tended to be named for a geographic feature, usually a creek or a mountain or some kind of geographic feature near the site of the battle. And the South tended to name the battle by the town, the closest town. So the Battle of Manassas, from the southern perspective, is the Battle of Bull Run. From the northern perspective, the Battle of Antietam, from the Union perspective, is the Battle of Sharpsburg to the Confederates. Chantilly is also Ox Hill, and there are several other examples. So I'm walking south on German Street, which is the main street here in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Hey, thanks, Ian. Hope you can join us sometime. We just like to prattle on about movies, and my friend Jay and James, we're history geeks as well. So our films are chosen completely randomly. We use the Wheel of Film, which is the Wheel of Fortune for film. And every week a random film pops up, which is great because then it forces us to watch films that we normally probably wouldn't choose. And I often read the book and do a little investigation, especially if it's based in historic truth. Oh, here's that larger building. So this is the Register building, built in 1894. That's a good one. And then these typical divided buildings. So you can tell by the chimneys where each building is because some of them have been subdivided, similar to when we were in Georgetown in Washington, D.C. So you can see between these two chimneys was one house, but it's been divided into two. And it is so nice. It's nice here next to the college. These small towns can even make a drainage ditch look nice. This little tiny rivulet running down to the Potomac River with kids playing. Pretty cool. These are the kind of towns that people retire to. This is also a college town. I'm guessing it's spring break because it is way too quiet here. College towns on a Friday are never this quiet. So this must be spring break for Shepherdstown University, or I'm sorry, I keep saying that, for Shepherd University. I'm gonna finish my walk where I started down here and then do a little more research about this area because I feel like I came here on a whim today. Took a few minutes off work, not really. Had already worked my 8 hours plus. But it's such a nice day. So came this way on a whim, but didn't do my usual research about the building. So I'll definitely do that and when I post this video, I'll post the information in the description. And a big thanks to everyone who joined me. I need to make more of these live videos. These videos give me my watch hours. There's historic markers around here too. Because most of my videos were, and Ian, everyone else has heard my story. I'm not a YouTuber. I just accidentally became one. I started making shorts to log my research, my little architectural projects and my one place studies. And those turned into shorts, and shockingly, people started subscribing to my channel, which kind of freaked me out. There was one day I had 500 views on a video, and I told one of my real YouTube friends, Dan from Mr. Porkchop 14, I told him I was going to shut down my channel because 500 people saw my video. And it kind of freaked me out, being an introvert. But I kept making them. And like a year ago, I think I had 100 subs. And now I have like 400 and some. And I get a lot of questions about architecture. And I've made a lot of friends from around the world. And other people who do just what I do. Other people who log their research, whether it's architectural research, historical research. I found someone who does research on the migration of birds, geologists, mineralogists. There are other people who make their research logs with shorts. A lot of completists, and I'm a little bit of a completist myself. So this is why I do this. But I really do appreciate those of you who stop by. It makes it nice when I have questions that come in and chat, although I'm terrible at looking at chat, especially when crossing the streets. But it makes me talk more and talk about these areas. And I hope it makes a few people interested in coming to visit these wonderful areas. Thank you, Daily. Daily, I'm so grateful to have a mod. That was the other thing that shocked me. When I started live streaming, and again, I made shorts just to log my research, not to be a YouTuber, but then I had a lot of subs. And then I looked and I got a ton of subs, but no watch hours because all my videos are 30 seconds long. And then I did my first live stream and I got something crazy like 18 watch hours from one video, which was crazy. And then my watch hours started going up. So now I do live streams and I get to meet and chat with all kinds of cool people like Naveed. Naveed, I'm so glad you joined. Naveed and I met during our walk through Philadelphia, which was really cool. Naveed, I'm in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Check out this architecture. I'm not sure that the color scheme here is historically accurate, but check out that amazing architecture. I'm gonna guess it used to be a bank. It has a very banky feel to it. And then this one on the corner is beautiful. And this one here. And I'm gonna finish by taking one last look up the high street. And thanks everyone for being here. Naveed, I'm so glad you're here. And Ian, I'm so glad. And Daly, thank you for being a mod. Yeah, that was the other thing. I was like, I don't need a mod. And then I had like 2 trolls in one of my live streams. It was crazy. So yeah, I had to make Highlander, despite the fact that he thinks Braveheart is a great film. I made Highlander and Daly mods for me. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I will hopefully see some of you at Film Club tomorrow. I will not be live streaming tomorrow morning like I normally do on a Saturday morning because I'm here on a Friday afternoon. So I'm gonna sleep in a little bit and then get ready for Film Club. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Hope to see you again soon. Check out Ian's channel. And Ian, if you wanna post your link, try to post your link in the chat and then Daly can approve it. If you pop it in there, if it blocks, then I'll go ahead and add it into the description after I post the video. Have a great one. Bye-bye, everyone.